Welcome. Namaste, beautiful souls. I am broadcasting simultaneously on YouTube as well as in my Facebook group. So you may see comments highlighted from either of these platforms. And welcome to all of you this beautiful 9th day of March 2024. And I'm coming on a little bit early today to talk about Tarot Foundations too. This is a project, really. I'm going to call it a project more than a course that I started about this time last year with a small group of people. And we met for more than 36 visits, I would say, on Zoom. And this course really sort of took on a life of its own. And I have decided that I have revised the course, and I'm going to be presenting it as a YouTube class. And there will be, right now I have about 41 classes planned. And this is something that you can do at your own pace. But I thought today what I would do is just talk a little bit about the content of the class and my approach to teaching the tarot for those of you that haven't taken courses with me. Welcome, Heather. Did I say hello? Namaste. And I also want to acknowledge Birch. My YouTube membership fluctuates, goes up and down, and I know there's a lot of people that come in and out for particular deck deep dives, and I just want to say that I really appreciate all of you and your support on this journey. For those of you that aren't part of my Facebook group, one of the things I'm doing special there is I am taking a journey with playing cards, and I am very slowly sharing with you my process in understanding how to read playing cards cartomantically from more old school methods. So that's something else that's going on with me. So if you've never seen my face, my name is Sadhana. I am a reader, tarot teacher, if you haven't got the gist of that, and just really love this medium as a way to figure out what is going on with life, and whether you are working with your own journey, your own self-reflections, or you are supporting friends and family and others working as a reader. It's just an incredible gift. And so welcome. Now, in all of my courses, there are an abundance of resources, and what I am doing, oh, really, Heather? That's exciting. I should highlight all these comments just so you can see, because I know I'm getting ahead of myself here. I just want to, because the people on Facebook won't see it unless I highlight it. Yeah, so that's exciting. And what I am learning through my study of playing cards is many other layers that I've kind of touched on over the years, but I think I will be able to apply in some way. It's deepening my awareness of my Lenormand studies. It's just adding so much. It's really exciting, but that's not what this is. So Tarot Foundations is a course, and I am using Waite Smith and Waite Smith inspired decks to build layers, the mandala, the web of the tarot. And I'm going to share with you a doc here, or part of it anyway. Now, you may have seen this wheel on the internet, and I have very creatively on Canva edited it a little bit to make it more Waite Smith friendly. And so I changed the word discs to pentacles, and I have played with the court card associations, which is a really big step in making the reading of tarot your own, because there are many discrepancies in court card associations and where they fit in the zodiacal wheel. And this is something that we talk about at length in this class. So you can see here on this wheel, so we're in Pisces season right now. And if I zoom in here, you can see this quadrant of Pisces. And Pisces is the element of water. It is a mutable sign. It has decanic minors of 8, 9, 10 of cups, and each of those decanic minors have a planet that is associated with them: Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars. And the dates, of course, are approximate. And one of the things which is really interesting, because I know a lot of you are playing with true sky astrology. And something that I have come to realize is we can take a portion of this, delete the dates, and still apply a great deal of this. So if you are venturing off in another direction, if you are a Vedic astrologer, there are still ways to apply this to some degree. This is the layers of astrology and the tarot are old. They are even part of the older playing card cartomantic way of reading. Astrology has been part and parcel with tarot for a long time. And what the Golden Dawn did was bring in a clear chart of association. Now, when I say Golden Dawn and when I say Thoth Crowley, that is not one and the same, because there are differences between Golden Dawn associations and what Crowley did with his deck. So part of what I'm doing in this course is giving you the awareness of the differences and letting you find your way with what resonates the most. This chart I used to present as an Excel spreadsheet because I'm an Excel nerd and I love using Excel spreadsheets, and I will probably still put it in your folder. So all of the documents will be in Google Drive, and you can create your own folder and binder of documents from everything in the course. But I decided that I was going to fix up this graphic because I've always loved this graphic, and so I've kind of made it my own. And I will go back. I need to make sure that I credit the websites that the original came from that I mutated. Okay, so let's, I'm going to just do this for a second. So then, what I tend to do in the course is, so here we have the Pisces cards, and Pisces is connected to the element of the moon. So part of the process as we go through the zodiacal wheel is to look at the cards that are associated with that sign. And I'm not an astrologer. What I am doing here is building a web of association. You may have some familiarity with Pisces energy. You will know that it's a water sign. You will know that it's the final sign in the zodiacal wheel, which is highly significant. But more than that is building an understanding of these connecting cards, the 8, the 9, and the 10 of cups. There is this beautiful story that unfolds. And when we do a reading and we have, let's say, the moon card and one of these cup cards appear in a reading, the more that you are aware of these connections, the more vocabulary you have to express and to respond to a question. I want to just stop here for a moment. When we all learn to read the tarot, just let me get another Waite Smith inspired deck if I have one here, just a second. What do I have on my table? This is so interesting because there is a 2-hour video by Anna Turian who walks through her new deck, Tarot of Echoes. And as she is walking through that deck, what I am hearing is that I don't want to say there's no awareness of, but it's not a significant part of her expression of what the cards mean. The mandala, the web, the zodiacal web does not, it's not part of the way that she reads. And I think a lot of people read this way. So for example, the Tower card. The Tower card, we learn, is a card of change. Often there is a sudden change. Things will look completely different. When I'm looking at a card that has an actual tower, I can kind of feel the rumbling of the earthquake. There's mythological connections to Christian symbols and the Tower of Babel, the House of God, the connection to the Hierophant card. We can look at animal decks, and one of my favorite tower cards is in the Lily White Tarot, and I think about vulnerability, where we're seeing an elk that has just released its rack of horns, antlers. And so we have these layers of symbology. Burning towers, burning trees, the release of antlers, vulnerability, aloneness. The number 16, fire. A little bit of fear, perhaps. So we have all of this, and I think this is how we learn to read in the beginning. But there's more. There's more. And sometimes I find that I have a membership on quite a few Facebook groups, Facebook tarot groups, and I see people seeking support in understanding a reading. And I think where people get stuck is that this descriptive, symbolic layer of the tarot at some point isn't enough. We need more. We need more connections. We need to understand. We just need more vocabulary. And because we've studied the zodiacal wheel doesn't mean we will always bring in zodiacal correspondences or planetary correspondences, but it means it's available and we understand connections. So, for example, this Tower card is connected to the planet Mars. You may or may not have any personal connections with the planet Mars. You may have Aries energy in your natal chart, and so you might know a little bit about, you may know that Mars rules Aries. And so it might be kind of interesting to you that there's this connection with Aries and the Emperor, and maybe an energy that you carry with that goes in connection with the Tower. It's like you hold this energy, you know this energy well. You understand its pulse. And so as we go through very slowly each of the connections of the tarot, we begin to memorize these associations so that when the moon card comes up in a reading, we have this reflection of, wow, okay, there may be some aspect of 8 or 9 or 10 of cups in this reading. it's like I have a flash of associations. Hi, Perry. Welcome. And the thing about learning to read tarot is that you have to practice. And this course that I teach, the way that I teach, is one where every week there's practice, there's practical application, there's an exercise that you do to help to build all of this in. Clevis is somebody, hi Clevis, welcome, good morning. I mean, Clevis has taken this course. She was part of the small group in the initial group of this class. And this building of web and building of layers and building of association is something that takes time. We're certainly all not going to remember the associated cards in each class. And I would never put this many cards down on the table in one class. I'm simply illustrating out here in a linear way this piece of the zodiacal wheel around Pisces. And you'll see that we have over here, and of course this is the star, which is Aquarius, and over here is the Emperor, which is Aries, which are the two zodiacal signs on either side of Pisces. And you can see some of their associated cards. We have primordial energy cards that we can use as well too. So you may see here underneath the moon, there is the Hanged Man, which has a double layer. It is associated with Neptune, which is also one of the rulers of Pisces. And in the Golden Dawn correspondences is elemental water. And knowing there is a connection and reflecting on the Hanged Man in terms of the moon or any of these cards that are connected with this particular group, this Piscean group, can really awaken conversation and help you to understand why certain cards may appear together in a reading. Minors and majors weave in such fascinating ways. And there are many places in the zodiacal wheel where we have like doubles and triples of energy. So, for example, here, so the moon is Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is this card here, the Wheel of Change. And this particular decan, the middle decan of Pisces, is also ruled by Jupiter. So in this middle decan of Pisces, we have very strong wheel energy, which is something, if you didn't know, you might not what am I saying here? I'm saying that this is going to help you to understand what this Nine of Cups is about. This fullness, this richness of watery energy. Water wants to flow. Water wants to move. Water is always changing. Water is healthiest and happiest when it is flowing. So there's this piece, right? So I will introduce connections via either a spreadsheet or a graphic such as the one I just shared with you. So there's that. Then we will look at these associations via the cards. And the cards are really an important part of this because we need to be able to apply what's going on here, right? Then another aspect of the class, which we are going to go into in much more detail in the new version of the course is an understanding of the tree of life. And I had this really beautiful moment not too long ago, and I shared it with you, I think, last week in my Cups Marseille chat, Coins Marseille chat. And that was when Christine Powler, oh, what is her name? The book that I'm reading, Christine Payne Towler, just very casually said, yeah, well, the tree of life is the Western way of viewing the chakra system. And it was just the way it was expressed in the book. It was so matter of fact. I thought, yeah, okay, I like this. Now, I have studied the tree of life through yogic correspondences. So some of my more complex yoga books talk about the tree of life. My first one probably was Isabel Ratto Kliegman's book. That's a really cool book. It's called Tarot and the Tree of Life. Focuses on the minors, but also has some interesting chakra stuff in there as well too. And so because I am a yogi, because this energy, working with energy is so important to me, I began to deepen my journey and my understanding of this mandala, the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, as it is interpreted by the Golden Dawn, because that is the shoulders upon which the Waite-Smith deck is created. And that's what those illustrations are based on. And most of you know that one of the intentions of the Waite-Smith deck was to make it more accessible, easier to read, so we didn't have to learn all this esoteric stuff. But as I was saying earlier, you get to this level, this layer, this place in your reading where you just have a feeling, there's more to this. And this is what I'm unfolding in Tarot Foundations too. Now, if we go to back to those Pisces cards, there's some brilliant associations. So if we look at, for example, what card? Let's go back to this Nine of Cups. One of the things, what is highlighted on this graphic here is the sun in the center. The sun in the center. Each of these circles on the Tree of Life, each of them is called a sephirah. Sephiro, plural, is connected to a planet. And these planetary energies correspond to various cards in the tarot. And over time, they will start to make more sense. But the sun cards are really important. They are connected to this very energetic and important sephirah called Tiferet at the center of the Tree of Life. There are an abundance of paths that run through this. You can see in this graphic that there's so many paths that run in and out of this sun, this central sephirah. And this would be the equivalent to the heart chakra in the yogic chakra system. And so with the awareness that the sun is here, Golden Dawn speaking wise, and that this is connected to the sixes, the beauty, the luminosity of the sixes, begins to awaken a new understanding of the tarot. And I'm going to do an extra class. So this course I'm going to start broadcasting very soon. And I'm going to do a sort of an intense week. I'm going to broadcast every single day to sort of do a wide stroke of all of the basic layers. And then we're going to go into the details and go more slowly. So I'm going to broadcast live every single day as I begin the course, and then I'll be broadcasting once a week. You don't have to watch the live broadcasts. Anything personal that you share in the chat, you won't see later on because that I hide that. But you do have access to me through the comments. So if you comment and we start a chat about that class in the comments down below, then other students can see that. And it creates wonderful conversations. It's not as personal as talking on Zoom, but it's a great way to record and to have a record of confusions, misunderstandings, layers that need to be explored more in each of the classes. And what I did with the recent Tarot Foundations 1 class was some of the comments that went down below prompted additional videos. And so I am completely open to making impromptu videos as well too. So it's this body of knowledge that you can come in and out of as you have the time. Okay, so this is an important graphic that we will look at slowly and in depth and in all of its iterations, because it does have quite a few different forms. Bye, Heather. I'll see you sometime soon. Namaste. Okay. What else? What else are we going to do in Tarot Foundations 2? There's a methodology that is called the first operation. And you can see descriptions of the first operation in, oh my goodness, many tarot books. Many tarot books. And this is kind of another conversation that's really important, and that has to do with deepening your sensitivity to facings and directions in the tarot. It has to do with understanding how all of the elemental energy weaves together. And this is based on the Order of Wands, Cups, Swords, Pentacles, which also is in alignment with the chakra system and the energy that came through the rishis thousands of years ago. And of course, we're going to discuss, well, what do you do if a deck or a deck creator or a deck system works with air, swords, thought as the first suit? Because this is a huge discrepancy in the tarot. Sometimes deck creators, tarologists are pretty hard and fast that air is first. It all originates with air. And we will talk about that, and we'll talk about how you can work as a tarot reader and begin to unfold and understand these layers and not be overwhelmed by the contradictions. I have attempted to find ways to express some of this, in that we need to have space for everything. And then through the power of discrimination or the power of intuition, we make a choice about which direction we're going to go. I used to call myself and introduce myself as an intuitive reader, and I think that is misunderstood, what that means. I think some people assume that means you just look at the pictures and you let those stories come to life. And that's one way of reading. But when I call myself an intuitive reader, part of that process are the many layers the many different systems and decks that I have studied over the years. So there's this foundation. There's all these bits and pieces, and you can look at them like as building blocks, or you can look at them as a web, a mandala. And the more that I study, and so I mentioned I'm currently studying older cartomantic systems and going through Leo Martelli's book and really enjoying that older book. I think it's from the 60s. And at first, there's certain things that I read that I find confusing and contradictory. And so I sit with them and let them just sort of, percolate, marinate. And eventually they will find a place. And eventually I will find a connection. Because I believe that all of these roads kind of eventually they all sort of fit together in this magical mandala known as the tarot. And whatever way you come in, I think it's really important to be open to understanding this power of connection. Something very unrelated, and I think maybe I'll close with this today, and that is when I was in my 20s, I lived in Japan for many years. And I remember being in a Shinto shrine. I had a mentor who was teaching me Japanese and taking me all over, like every weekend. She would take me somewhere and we would go and see flowers blooming here and there. And we went to so many temples and traditional homes and inns and pottery places, and it was really something. But the highlight of it was going to temples and shrines. And she taught me some of the protocols about different ways, like what the protocol is when you enter and what to do and all of that. And I was really confused about how can you be a Buddhist and a Shinto at the same time? And why do Japanese people go to a Shinto shrine for this event, and then why do they go to a Buddhist temple for this event? Now, of course, there are strict Buddhists in Japan, but the majority of people are polytheistic, and they have this reverence for the pagan Shinto tradition, and they also embrace a lot of the Buddhist tradition as well, too. And I was in a shrine, and it was like, I don't know what happened. It was one of those little mini awakenings. And I all of a sudden saw, I don't know, it was like just the energy changed in the place. And all of this started to make sense. And I think the tarot is the same. The more open you are to receiving various lessons and different ways of seeing, the more it's all eventually going to make sense. So don't lock yourself into any one system. Don't be open to expanding your mandala. And know that some days just reading the pictures and creating a story is exactly the perfect thing. And another day, you may really need to lean into and start to think about, let's pick on Mars and gods of war and goddesses of war and martial energy and what that means. Maybe you're coming at it from a John Gray point of view and looking at Venus and Mars, and you've been reading one of his books or watching him on YouTube. There's lots of different ways you might find these connections. It is endless. It's an endless study. All of a sudden, Tuesday will take on a whole new meaning when you understand Tuesday is the day of Mars. And yeah, so this is what I offer in this rather wandering and long and magical class that I'm calling Tarot Foundations 2. So if you are interested, there's more information down below, and please feel free to shoot me an email if you want more clarity. I also offer, and it says on the website, I'm open to offering payment plans as well too. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I'll be back shortly, and we'll be talking about the Marseille coins. Take good care. Namaste. Thank you.